Sometimes, the most beautiful hearts live in the harshest circumstances. In a quiet American town blanketed in snow, where the streetlights flicker through the cold night, Clara Davis walks home with a heavy heart and a bag of discounted groceries in her tired hands. Her fingers are red from the cold, her coat worn from years of use, but she keeps walking because waiting inside that small, dim apartment is her entire world, her 8-year-old son Eli. As she pushes open the creaky door, the warmth of home is barely there. The heater broke weeks ago, and the faint breath of cold lingers in every corner. Still, Eli sits at the small wooden table with a hopeful smile that could melt any winter night. "Mom, did you get something for dinner?" he asks softly, his voice filled with trust, the kind of trust only a child can give so freely. Clara smiles, though behind that smile hides exhaustion and worry. She sets the small bag on the counter. "I got us something, sweetheart. It's not much, but it'll fill us up." She opens a can of broth, cuts up half a potato, a single carrot, and a bit of stale bread. As the soup simmers, the smell fills the room, humble but home. She sits with Eli, folding her hands together and whispering, "God, just one more day, help me feed him." Eli nods, bowing his little head too. That night, as the snow fell heavier outside, Clara didn't know that her quiet prayer was already being answered, in the most unexpected way. Because soon, there would be a knock at her door that would change everything. But who could it be, on a freezing night like this? A neighbor? A friend? Or a stranger who's about to test the true depth of her kindness? Just as Clara and Eli sit down to share their simple meal, a sound breaks through the silence, 3 faint knocks on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Clara freezes. It's late. No one visits at this hour. Eli looks up, his spoon halfway to his mouth. "Mom, who could that be?" Clara hesitates, her heart racing. Slowly, she walks to the door and peeks through the frosted glass. Standing there, barely visible through the snowfall, is an elderly man, thin, trembling, and wrapped in an old coat that looks 2 sizes too big. His breath fogs in the cold air. Clara opens the door slightly. "Sir, can I help you?" she asks carefully. The old man's voice trembles, weak but polite. "Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you. I haven't eaten in 2 days. Could you spare something warm?" Her heart sinks. She glances back at the table, 3 bowls, 2 already filled for her and Eli. The soup is thin, barely enough for the 2 of them. For a moment, she's torn between logic and compassion. But then Eli gets up and walks beside her, holding her hand. "Mom," he says softly, "we can share." He looks hungry. Tears well in Clara's eyes. How could a child with so little still be so willing to give? She nods slowly, her voice trembling. "Come in, sir. Please come in." The old man steps inside, shaking snow from his coat. The small room feels warmer instantly, not because of the heater, but because of the kindness in that moment. Clara didn't know it yet, but that one decision, to open her door to a stranger, would soon open the door to a miracle she never imagined. But what happens when you give away what little you have? Can kindness still find a way to give back? The answer is just ahead. The small, dim kitchen glowed faintly as Clara ladled the soup into 3 mismatched bowls. Steam rose like a whisper of warmth in the cold night. Eli placed a piece of bread before the old man, smiling shyly. "It's not much, but it's warm." The man's eyes glistened. He picked up the spoon with trembling hands and said softly, "You've given me more than food tonight. You've given me kindness, something I haven't felt in a long time." Clara smiled gently. "It's what anyone would do." The man shook his head. "No, not everyone would." They ate in silence for a while, the only sounds being the clinking of spoons and the soft hum of the wind outside. When the man finished, he stood, adjusting his scarf. "Thank you. May God bless you and your boy." Clara offered to let him rest for the night, but he smiled sadly. "I've got somewhere to be. But I'll never forget this." As he stepped out into the falling snow, he turned back once and gave a small wave. Clara watched until his figure disappeared into the night. Eli yawned and leaned against her. "Do you think he'll be okay, Mom?" Clara nodded softly. "I hope so, baby. I really do." That night, as she tucked Eli into bed, Clara felt a strange peace. She had less food in her stomach, but somehow, her heart felt full. But the next morning, a knock at that same door would bring news that would leave her breathless. What could possibly happen next? A miracle? A mistake? Or something that would prove no act of kindness ever goes unnoticed? The next morning, the snow had softened, and sunlight peeked through the frosted windows. Clara stirred awake to another sound at the door, another knock. For a second, her heart sank. Could it be the old man again? Did something happen to him? She hurried to the door and opened it, but instead of the frail stranger, a young delivery man stood there, holding a clipboard and a large cardboard box. "Ma'am," he said, smiling, "delivery for Clara Davis." Clara frowned. There must be a mistake. I didn't order anything. He checked his paper. Address matches. You sure you're not Clara Davis, apartment 3B? She nodded slowly. Well then, he said, placing the box down, this is for you. Inside the box were fresh groceries, bags of fruit, vegetables, milk, meat, even sweets for Eli. And on top, a neatly folded envelope. Clara tore it open, her hands shaking. Inside was a simple note that read, "In gratitude for your kindness. J Foundation." She blinked, confused. J Foundation? I've never heard of it. Eli ran to her side, eyes wide with excitement. Mom. There's food. Real food. Tears filled her eyes. She sat on the floor, holding the note close to her chest. Who could have done this? But what Clara didn't know was that this mysterious gift carried a story, one that went far beyond her small apartment walls and would soon uncover a truth that would shake her heart to its core. Who was it, and how did they know about her act of kindness? The answer was closer than she ever imagined. Days passed, and Clara couldn't stop thinking about the box, or the note signed J Foundation. She asked around the neighborhood, hoping someone knew something. Then one afternoon, Mrs. Thompson, her elderly neighbor from down the hall, called out to her. Clara, did you hear? That old man who used to walk near the corner store, he passed away the other night. Clara's heart skipped. An old man? Do you mean the one who? Mrs. Thompson nodded. Yes. They said his name was George Avery. Used to be a big businessman around here. Spent his last years quietly, helping people in secret. Clara froze. George Avery. Her eyes filled with tears as realization hit her. The frail man who knocked on her door wasn't just a stranger, he was testing humanity, testing kindness itself. George Avery had once owned several local stores and businesses. But after retiring, he devoted his fortune to one mission, to help those who showed kindness, not out of wealth, but out of heart. That night, after leaving Clara's apartment, he had arranged the delivery before passing peacefully in his sleep. Clara sat quietly at her kitchen table, the same one where she'd shared that half bowl of soup. She whispered softly, "You blessed us even in your last breath." It was then that she realized, she hadn't just given food that night, she'd given hope. And in return, she'd been given a miracle. But George Avery's story didn't end there. What Clara would soon discover next would give her life an even deeper purpose. Months passed, and life began to look different for Clara and Eli. Thanks to the groceries and a small grant that followed, she was able to get back on her feet. One day, she received a letter inviting her to work part-time at the local community center, the very one George Avery had funded years ago. When she arrived for her first day, she looked up at the plaque near the entrance. It read, "In memory of George Avery, a fortune found through kindness." Clara smiled, brushing away a tear. She whispered, "And so did I." Every week, she helped serve warm meals to families who, just like her, had once felt forgotten. And every time she ladled soup into a bowl, she remembered that cold winter night when she gave away her last meal and gained a new beginning. Eli, now older, often helped by her side. He'd tell new volunteers proudly, "My mom says kindness is the only thing that never runs out." The kitchen echoed with laughter, gratitude, and hope. Clara didn't just receive a miracle, she became one. But before we close this story, there's one last thing she wants you to remember. Sometimes, miracles don't come in lightning or loud answers. They come quietly, through the kindness we show when we have every reason not to. Clara's story reminds us that you don't need money to be generous, just a willing heart. She didn't feed a stranger because she expected a reward. She did it because it was right. And in doing so, she found something far more valuable than wealth: peace, hope, and a new beginning. As she stood by the plaque one evening, lights glowing softly above her, she whispered, "Thank you, George, for teaching me that giving never makes you poorer. The greatest miracles are born from the smallest acts of kindness. So give, even when you have little, because one small act can ripple into someone else's forever." So, what did this story teach you? Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change not just someone else's life but your own. If this story touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that miracles still happen. Because at the end of the day, it's not what we have, but what we give, that truly defines who we are. Remember, we're not just telling stories, we're changing lives. If you believe that kindness can change the world, make sure to like, subscribe, and join our family here at the Cherished Stories channel.